Welcome. Welcome once again to another episode of this podcast channel. It is wonderful to have you here on this eclipse day. How could I not show up on a solar eclipse day that is happening in Aries, closing a 2-year cycle of eclipse seasons in such a crucial moment for all of humanity? So, thank you once again for being here, for following me, for being a part of my soul tribe. And today I'm here to share insights on what does this mean? What does this eclipse mean? What does all of the planets that are in retrograde in Aries and getting out of Pisces, and what is this year all about? And especially, what can you do about this? How can you navigate these times so that you can be benefited from all these energies and so that you can truly gain insights like never before and activate that inner wisdom that tells you which is your life purpose direction, where to go, what to do. Let's start by the thing that is in our face right now, and it's today's solar eclipse, a new moon in Aries, a new zodiac cycle, which is Aries, with this fiery new moon in a partial eclipse. It's a partial eclipse, and it will be seen partially in the east coast of the US and the west coast of Europe and parts of Africa. But that doesn't matter because the energy of the eclipse is worldwide. We will all feel what's happening between the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. The time in which the eclipse starts, it's 4:50 a.m. Eastern Time. For us in the Pacific Coast, it will be the middle of the night, moments after this video goes out. We have all been navigating all these important, powerful energies since the beginning of 2025, starting with Mars going retrograde very early on this year. But let me just, for all of us neophytes, speak about what does it mean when a planet goes retrograde. As the word says it, retrovision. It actually accompanies us to revisit aspects of our lives, normally the aspects of our life that those planets influence. What does it mean when a planet goes retrograde is that from the standpoint of the Earth, it looks as if the planet were going backwards. And that's because all planets have these elliptical routes that do loops like a letter cursive E or like an L, right? And as they do these loops, it looks as if even though they're going forward, they're going backward and then looping, crossing, and forward again. From the Earth, it looks as if the planet literally is going backwards from where it came from, and then it moves forward again. The influence of those times for all planets that go retrograde is a time to go inside, a time to revision, to revisit, to look in our retrovision mirror. What has happened with that in our lives? What is happening? And it is also an opportunity to reset in these topics that this planet is holding. Where do I want to go from here? So the year started with the power of Mars, the planet of reinitiation, of rebirthing, of creation, of breaking through, of moving forth, and also the warrior planet that has to do with our work. What do we do for a living? And in its retrograde motion, it took us into a journey that ended towards the end of February of looking at in what ways the way in which I make money, the ways in which I live in this three-dimensional world where money is an energy of exchange has to be renewed or upgraded or renovated. How am I going to change, modify, or upgrade the way in which I do what I do? As soon as Mars started going forward, then its cosmic counterpart, Venus, started going retrograde. And Venus is all about relationships, relationships to ourselves, to others, to our communities, to our families, to everything we do, and also about pleasure, about sensuality, about being comfortable in our bodies. And it's still retrograde. And with Venus retrograde, we're currently also asking ourselves, how am I comfortable in this body? How are my relationships going? How am I relating to those around me, to the world around me, to my community, my family, my loved ones, my friends, those I teach to, those I work with, and also the things I do, my projects, my dreams. And not only that, but together with Venus retrograde, we have Mercury retrograde as well. And Mercury is the planet of communication, of all things that have to do with technology, but also of the mind, how we're able to express this acute mind and pass it and transform it into words that make sense for the world in front of us. And it is not unheard of that through a moment of Mercury retrograde, there could be some glitches in communication beyond the glitches of traveling, delays, and it is said never to sign important contracts, buy a car or a house, or get married through Mercury retrograde time. With this scenario, we are having a solar eclipse in Aries, and I'm going to address that in a moment. But also, we have other planets moving into Aries this month of April. We have Neptune moving from Pisces into Aries. Neptune, the depths of emotions, the planet that holds the essence of love for the most essential way in which love is meant to be felt and lived and expressed, is going into Aries, the fire sign. And not only that, as Neptune is going there in a retrograde motion with the invitation to expand, to merge with others as if we were dancing in the water. We have Saturn that enters Aries, and Saturn is all about the rules and laws and dictates of the third dimensional world. What needs to be in place so that life on this third dimensional planet can happen, all these laws that we've all agreed to also without really having to agree. Things are done a certain way so that we can cohabitate this planet. So here we have Neptune inviting us all to be loved and loving and dissolve our boundaries. And we have Saturn coming immediately on top of it saying, this is my boundary. This is how you do. My freedom ends where your freedom starts. So we're going to have some interesting dynamics there. And not only that, we have Jupiter in the blend, and Jupiter enlarges everything. Also, people call Jupiter the great benefic because it's a beautiful planet of abundant energy. Some people say it's the planet of winning the lottery, but it's also the planet of too much excess. It's the planet where you could become a gambler. So it is so interesting that we have all of these energies packed in this sign of Aries, Aries being the first sign of the wheel of the zodiac, a sign of fire, a cardinal sign. A cardinal sign means a sign that shows the way, opens the way. I had to set the foundation so you can understand also some of the framework of what is happening in this eclipse. The eclipse is happening with the moon in Aries and the sun in Aries. That's when solar eclipses happen, when moon and sun are conjoined. And when moon and sun are conjoined, meaning one on top of the other, you cannot see the moon because the light of the sun is right there and it's not reflecting on the moon. And that's why you don't see it. That's why we say it's a new moon. And this means that we have these two big luminaries, the sun and the moon, which are two of the most important luminaries in the sky in our lives. It is said in astrology, in human design, that where your sun is really influences almost 70% of how you are, how you move, how you be in life. And then, of course, you have the influences of your rising sun and of the moon. And having the sun and the moon in Aries with an eclipse is a moment of reset, is a moment where we have the elements of water and fire playing with each other. And in this eclipse, we're coming to the end of this eclipse season that started in 2023 and that is concluding now. For the next 20 years or so, we won't have another eclipse in Aries. So think back on April 20th of 2023. Think back at that time. Where were you? What were you inviting into your life? In the year 2023, we had the equinox in March 20th, and we actually happened to have two new moons in Aries in the year 2023, which was very potent. And in the second new moon on April 20th was when this eclipse season started. So it was a very powerful activation of the fire within you. The fire within you is nothing else and nothing more than that passion that drives you, that information that is guiding you in life, that is telling you where to go, what to do, why to do it. Is that fire in you that is pushing you forward, for which you cannot do anything else but being led by that fire. So here we have the moon, the planet that rules the waters. And let's not forget that we're 70% to 80% water in our body. So we feel the moon very intensely, just like the sea goes up and down, and we have the tides, and they're influenced by the moon for the pull of the gravity of the moon wherever the moon is in its rotation around the earth, that the tides move. So do the waters within us. We get moved. We have emotions that flow through us. Emotions, energy in motion, emotions that flow through us. So here we have the moon, and we have Neptune that's coming from Pisces, the last zodiac of the zodiac wheel, which is water, ruled by water, moving into Aries, the first zodiac of the zodiac wheel in fire. So we have this moment of water meeting fire, not always easy because the water also turns off the fire. But this moment is fundamental because the fire helps the water transmute. When you put water over fire, what happens? It evaporates, it uplifts, it raises, right? So that's the same thing for us energetically. All of these planets in fire are inviting us to truly go deeply inside. And they're offering us a reset with this eclipse, a big reset. Somebody's coming and going ka-chunk with the electricity switch of our lives and for all of the planet Earth. This is a moment of deep, deep transformation, transmutation, alchemical mutation. And it is unavoidable. And probably this is the thing that is most difficult to accept, that it's going to affect all of us, every single human on earth, every single animal and plant as well. But for us humans who hold that collective unconscious energy, this is a moment where we want it or not, we are taken to the very extreme extended of our comfort, uncomfortable zone, so that we can truly make that next step of the upleveling. Because the upleveling, the raising our awareness, the raising of our vibration is fundamental to continue on this path of the Earth's ascension. And no matter what you do, the Earth is going to ascend. So it's up to you to get that surfing board on that sea and start paddling so that you can really catch the wave, or stay behind and then watch as the wave and other surfers go forth, because the wave is going to continue to go and the Earth is going to continue to ascend. The question is, do you want this? Do you want this so that you are ready with your courage to move through whatever it takes within you, to look at those painful things that are within you and really allow yourself to let them go and to understand the stories that are a part of your individuality, of who you think you are, because you're not those stories, but you believe you are those stories. all of these planets all together moving. And by the way, Mars, as we began the year with that introspection, as I was sharing with you, is also the ruler of Aries. So here we are again in this planet, this cardinal planet of new beginnings that is absolutely resetting us to start again. A new cycle. This is a year where new cycles will continue to be activated all the time, all the time. Let's not forget my video from the beginning of the year where I was explaining the portal 999, September 9 of this year, 2025, that adds up to 9. That's the culmination of all of the resets of this year. When we step through that 999, we are going to be on the other side of a new cycle of 9 years at least, where 2025, 26, and 27 will have a completely different frequency for us. We're going to be integrating all of the transformations we've had, and our lives will look very different to us than what our lives were up until then. And if we are courageous enough to dive deep and do our work, we're going to be creating so much beauty and expansion that when we look back, we won't even recognize who we were. And we will be expanded and living our soulful purpose in the most beautiful way. So today, Eclipse Day, yes, the eclipse starts at 4:50, and yes, it lasts a set number of hours, but it's also very well known that when we're talking about these big celestial bodies, they are not an instant on and off, right? They keep moving slowly, slowly, slowly. So you've been probably feeling this approaching of all of these planets in the sky and the way they're going to be conjoined with the earth also there blocking that light for the past week, all of the week, on top of Venus and Mercury retrograde and Neptune slowly moving into position in Aries out of Pisces again. And you will be feeling this next week as well. So, all of today and all of tomorrow and all of the day after tomorrow, you will be feeling this energy very much. And the invitation is for you to sit with this. I mentioned many things in this video, and one was, okay, how do I want to show up doing what I do in the world? Does it need an up leveling? Does it need an update? Do I need to change it completely and do something else? What are you being called to do? Also, how are my relationships? Am I honoring myself? Am I keeping those healthy boundaries? Am I honoring no when I mean no and yes when I mean yes? Or am I imploding and allowing others to enter into my space? How am I allowing my heart to open and love? Or am I protecting it? Am I not letting love reach me? But as I don't let love reach me, I'm not letting love go out either. What's happening in the relationship that I have with my own self? Am I loving myself? Am I taking care of myself? Am I honoring the first report and most important one, which is for me with me, so that I can fill my cup and then honor all the other relationships that I have? Or am I putting everybody else's needs before mine and therefore feeling frustrated and limited and angry and who knows how many other emotions that are not uplifting are you feeling? Maybe you're feeling even depressed. Ask yourself, go there, be courageous. Why am I not being happy? Why am I frustrated? Where is it that I'm allowing others to step all over my boundaries? Where the first one to not honor that is you. Remember that the world around you reflects what you are feeling. And yes, many of us have this painful past that has us feeling unworthy and feeling not enough and feeling that we cannot really allow ourselves to shine bright because we're afraid of being bullied, of not being loved, of being rejected for who we are. Go there. The answers and joy and uplifting fulfillment are in there. And it's almost like the universe created this cosmic orchestra to bring it all in our face so that there's no way we can say no because it's so potent. There's so many planets in fiery Aries that there's no way we can hide. This is not just one transition, one planet in there. Hey guys, we're having Mars, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, Aries. We have so much of the moon, the sun. It's a lot. There's no way you can go, no, no, I don't want this. So go in there. We have an energy center in human design. We speak about the G center or the self center, where the magnetic monopole sits there. The magnetic monopole has exactly that, the magnetism for us to attract into our life and to be pulled forward by life into our direction, purpose, and love, into the most uplifting expression of our souls on earth in this lifetime. And when we listen, when we let go of all the limitations, of the fears, when we let go of the old stories, aren't you tired of the old stories? Let go, allow. It requires a leap of faith. It requires to be able to be uncomfortable in the uncertainty of what's to come. But in the uncertainty of what's to come, all kinds of beauty can happen. And remember that the divine universal co creation knows so much more than you and knows so many more relationships and so many more synchronicities that can be brought into your life for you to step into and step forth. But in order for you to receive all of that amazingness, you have to let go, because if you're holding to the past and if your cup is full with all those stories, there's no room for the new to come and activate this new cycle. So be very aware and very conscious that on this day, on this eclipse day, and this whole week, there's a reset happening in your life, a powerful reset. And I could spend hours and hours sharing with you what I teach with the students in my School of Wisdom about doing rituals for letting go. But I'm going to just give you a slight little thing, an idea for you to do. Create your own ritual, use a candle, light a candle to set the space, and blow it out to close the space. Go out in nature, speak to creators, speak to the trees, speak inside to your inner self, whatever is true for you. Connect with that higher aspect of who you are, with the divine creation, and speak up those words, the words about what you're ready to let go and the words that you're calling in. And maybe you want to write them in a paper, what you're letting go, to do a physical manifestation of bundling this up, putting it on a river or a creek, or burning it and allow it to dissolve, and then writing down what you're calling in so that you are claiming it and placing it in a little altar, an altar that could be as simple as a couple of rocks from the land you're on and a little candle or some crystals that you have. An intentional altar for this eclipse, for what you're letting go and what you're calling in. But it is my powerful invitation to not let this day go by just like another day or week, because you may be watching this in the days after the eclipse per se. Use this time. This is a profound, profound time of transformation. And transformation is wonderful. Don't be afraid of transformation. Transformation means what no longer works goes, and new possibilities are claimed. As I live this moment too, and I too have a lot to shed and a lot to claim, I feel and see and know what amazing times these are to be alive on earth, where the veils are so much thinner and there's so much room for us to really connect with the beyond, with the biggest insights that go way beyond the mind. It's eternal, it's infinite, it's the unknown quantum, it's the 0 point in the universe. It's the moment where we bring the past and we bring the future and we unite them in the now, in the 0 point, in the now, in the now, in the now, which is the only truth. I know many people are struggling, and I know many people need some support to move through this moment, to be activated in their own right, so that their own connection to the divine can be activated. There are many ways in which I support the people I work with, starting with a simple confirmation multidimensional reading where you can come, we can talk to your guides, we can talk to the guides, we can access your Akashic records, check in what's in store for you. Or we can do a human design reading where we look at what is your operating manual and we look at what are your possibilities, where are you veering off path, what is it that you're called to move forth with, or do a healing of that trauma in your life, or so many more possibilities. I invite you to check my website. There's also many free resources there that help you in activating your own alignment, in having a meditation to connect with your spirit guides. Here in the YouTube channel, there's a meditation with the sacred rays of ascension that is amazing, and people have been telling me how much they've gotten from it. So I'm going to put all these links in the description. I'm going to put the link of this meditation that helps you so much, the link to my website so you can go and download the free gifts in my website, but also so that you can see, if you want to work with me, what is available for you. In this moment, it is my deepest desire that this eclipse time can be truly a time of completion and shedding and of rebirthing. Lots of love. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for being part of this ascension journey and of this tribe that I'm calling in. Much love, many blessings, and let's rejoice in this co creation.